Hey, what's going on, everyone? Happy Transformational Thursday. It's your girl, Shay Hope, also known as the Hope Strategist. And just wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about what transforming means to me. And the first thought that came to mind was doing it alone. And I know sometimes that seems like a very daunting thing. It can even be a little scary when you think about doing something all by yourself, unless you are used to doing it all by yourself. But, if you are one of those people that, grew up with siblings or, family members that you were very close to and you were always hanging around, or, now you're used to being with, your girlfriends or your guy friends or your mate, your spouse, your kids, your, whoever. It can be daunting when you think about doing something without having someone else with you, because let's just be real. It's a lot easier to take on a challenge, a new venture, a task with someone else to join in it with you, right? But there are certain things in life that truly require you doing it alone, you doing it by yourself, you figuring it out on your own. Because quite honestly, oftentimes, I know that God will not send you to another level until you get rid of some of the people who are hanging on. You know what I mean? And it could be family members, it could be your man, it could be your woman, it could be your kids, it could be, your best friend, whatever, what have you. But sometimes you've got to let that person go. Hi for everyone who just joined. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So sometimes you have to let someone go or some people go in order to get to that next level. Right? And for true transformation, like I always talk about how, I know that I'm destined for, for greater things. And I hope all of you believe that for yourselves too, because I definitely believe that, we all want to be the highest form of who God intended for us to be, right? And for you, in order for you to be your, the highest form of yourself, that means you're going to have to stretch out of your comfort zone. That means you're going to have to go places you're not used to going. That means you're going to have to run in circles maybe you're not used to running in. You're going to have to learn a little bit more, like beyond your grade school, high school, or even college education. Like, it's going to require you learning a little bit more. It's going to require you studying. It's going to require you doing the work. And it may even require you having a season of solitude. It may even require you stepping back from the things that you normally do, not participating in the activities you normally participate in, not hanging around the people you normally hang around. And, and this can be hard for some family members and some friends to accept, because, some of them may feel like, oh, wow, you're changing, you're acting different. And yeah, absolutely, you are. And there's nothing wrong with that, but some people will try to make it, they will turn it into something dealing with them. And you absolutely cannot allow them to derail your journey. You know what I mean? If you care about these people, you truly value them in your life, there's nothing wrong with having a conversation with them and saying, hey, I'm currently on a journey. It's a self journey. I need to do this for me. And you can go in depth if you want as to why you're doing it, or you can just, say something simple along those lines. And, just let them know, like, this is no reflection on you. This is simply about me. I want more out of life. I desire this. I'm searching for that. And you're not telling them to get their permission. You're not telling them to get their opinion. You're just letting them know, hey, I want you to understand I'm not going to be as readily available as I normally am. I'm not going to be able to attend all the events and functions like I normally do. I'm not going to be able to sit on the phone and talk like I normally would. I'm not going to be able to go here, go there, blah, blah, blah. There may be times when I'm doing other things and you may see me around other people, and it's not because I don't want to be around you anymore or that I'm, leaving my family members and dissing my friends and all of that. No, it's just that I'm going for something and this is what I believe are the steps for me to go. So I just need this time right now to do this. And I really truly believe that the people who love you, support you, and want the best for you will totally understand and grant you your space, will not take it personal. They will not make it about them. And, the people who are not ready for that growth in you because they're not, ready for that growth in themselves, they may not be, as understanding. And, and they may feel taken aback. They may, get upset. They may be like, oh, well, we just won't hang anymore. Hey, that's fine. Because the people who are supposed to be there will be there. The people who are supposed to be in your life, the people who are supposed to be with you at certain points with your journey, like they will be there. There's nothing that will stop them. And the people who are supposed to be X'd out, they will weed themselves out. It's just as simple as that. Okay? So don't be afraid to transform. I don't think you're ever too young or too old to transform, and by transformation, I mean, I think it's a mental, spiritual, and physical transformation. I think, that's the journey that I'm on right now, like totally transforming in all facets. Okay. And, I can honestly say that over the past few years, really over the past 4 years, I think I told you in, one of my prior videos, sorry about that. But 2019, honestly, was when I just started looking at certain relationships differently. I started looking at, at my journey differently. Okay, here we go. So sorry about that. Someone didn't quite understand. I'm not taking that call. So, but yeah, 2019, I really started taking a journey of self-reflection and really just looking at relationships differently, looking at, my path differently. And I stopped taking other people's, insecurities and, doubts and fears and, taking their issues on as my own. I am naturally an empath. Like I am very empathetic to other people. Like I'm one of those people that if somebody is having a hard time, if somebody is dealing with something in their lives, I tend to take that on, especially if there's somebody close to me who I care about. If they're going through a hard time, I immediately start thinking about ways that I can help support them. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, I don't think being an empath is a bad thing. I don't think having sympathy and being empathetic towards others is a bad thing. I do think sometimes people take advantage of it. I do think that sometimes empaths tend to allow themselves to get too involved and, and take on, really more than we should. And then it starts to affect us internally. And so there has to be like a delicate balance, like I'm not going to change being an empath because that's just my nature. That's who I am naturally. And I love that, me being my true, authentic, natural self is, I feel like, what draws people to me. It's probably what draws people to, listen to videos like this. But I also had to learn that not everyone deserves my time, consideration, effort, all of that. Like there is a way that I can, cut certain things off, certain situations off. I can remove myself out of the equation. I cannot take it on. I can definitely, show my sympathy towards someone's situation, but I don't have to get involved into it. I don't have to get wrapped up into it, right? So for me, transforming was about, is also about recognizing, okay, Shay, this is who you are. This, and there's, and you are beautiful just the way that you are. And, and I'm not talking about physically, I'm talking about internally, your beliefs, your values, how you treat people, how you feel towards people, like that's to be respected, like respect who you are. I think I used to sometimes be like, oh my gosh, I wish I could be just like this cold-hearted bitch. You know what I mean? Like I used to seriously feel like like there are just some people who don't deserve my kindness. There are some people who don't deserve, my forgiveness. There are some people who don't deserve, my empathy and, who don't deserve my time and blah, blah, blah. And honey, when I realized, and it took some work now. This didn't happen overnight. This took some work. This took me really getting into, some self-development courses. This took me, doing a lot of reading, getting some coaching. I took what's called it was the Healing Masterclass given by one of my mentors. If you watch my videos, you've heard me talk about Rebecca Lynn Pope and her husband, Carrie Pope. And they had this course, and it was the Healing Masterclass. Oh my gosh, when I think of the exact name, but let me just say, it's from the Abundant Life Path University, and it was the Healing Work Masterclass. There we go. But when I really delved deep into that and started, getting to the root of who I am as a person, and that involved like tracing back to my childhood and, young adulthood and all those things. And I realized that it's like, I don't have to be this, cold-hearted, I don't give a damn, tough exterior, person in order to get through life. You know what I mean? I got to be the best version of me for me, not for anybody else. Okay. And yes, I am a person who forgives easily, because I don't like feeling angry at people. I don't even like looking angry. Okay. Like I think it adds years to your face. Okay. I read something one time where they said, if you smile, it takes years off of your look, and it makes you look younger. So I remember being a kid and like smiling all the damn the time. And so I think I still, as an adult, I tend to smile a lot because it does absolutely improve your looks. It improves your looks. It improves your attitude. Like it just lights up your whole face when you smile, right? So, I'm not one of those people that likes to, have animosity or, be ugly and mean towards people. Like that's just not my thing. So I had to start, my transformation meant accepting who I am authentically, not wanting to be different for other people based upon their actions towards me. I just had to learn how to manage my time spent with people who I felt like did not and could not respect what it is that I bring to the table. Because if you don't respect my presence, you're definitely going to feel my absence. And that's the truth. So, it's definitely a self-love journey. I think it's something that I'm still on, because because I am an empath, it's been hard letting go of some relationships. It really has, including, people very close to me. I've had to let go of some of those relationships. Now, you can't change who your family is, but you can change the way you allow them to treat you. How do you say? Well, it's a lot easier once you're an adult. As a kid, you don't really have a choice. You got to deal with it, especially if they're in the same household. But as an adult, you have the choice. You can spend less time, no time. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be a part of that. You can love someone from afar. And I've learned to do that in all of my relationships. I've learned to cut off friendships. I've learned to decipher what was truly a friendship and what was simply just an association, right? Because there's a huge difference. So transforming means you start transforming your mind as well, and you start realizing you got to start looking at things from a total different viewpoint. Not from hey, I'm subtracting this, I'm removing this, I'm losing this, but from I'm adding this into my life. I'm respecting myself. I'm loving myself. I'm honoring myself, because that's what I mean also by self-love. Until you start to do those things for yourself, you're not going to be any good for somebody else. Okay? Like, they may enjoy having you around because of what they get from you, but it's not doing you or them any good, because eventually you start feeling, undervalued and, unappreciated, right? And then you take it out on them, and they have no idea you felt that way, or that, or you felt like that, they were taking advantage of you or taking you for granted because you never voiced it. You're not being your true self to them. So that really isn't a friendship. Really? You know what I mean? Like, how could you be a friend to someone and you're not your true, authentic self? That's not what I call a friend. A friend to me is somebody that I can talk to honestly. I can tell them what's on my heart. I can tell them what's in my mind. I can tell them my fears. I can tell them, my concerns. I share my joys, my pains. I share my disappointments. I share my triumphs. We celebrate together, you know what I mean? And we comfort one another. Like, that to me is truly someone who's your friend. But if it's somebody who's only there in the good times, or who can only rely on you to be there for them in their time of need, but when you're in need, they're MIA, or I'll get to you when I can, or I'm sorry, blah, blah. Like, that's not a friendship. That's an association. Seriously, very one-sided. So yeah, I went a little deeper than I anticipated for Transformational Thursdays, but I definitely wanted to get across, more than anything, don't be afraid to do it alone. Sometimes it's absolutely positively necessary. It's absolutely positively necessary. Sometimes you just have to do things on your own. Not, you don't have to invite anyone, ask for anyone's approval, see if they want to go. Like, some things you have to do for you. And I definitely feel like you know when that is. Like when you start getting uncomfortable doing the same thing, being around the same people, certain things that used to not tick you off, all of a sudden now they're ticking you off when people say or do them. And they're like, oh, well, this never bothered you before. Oh, well, I've been this way for years. It never bothered you before. Well, now it does. That could mean someone's growing. And things that they used to do or things that the other person used to do just no longer appeals to them or just rubs them the wrong way. You know? And depending on how valuable that relationship is to you determines whether or not you want to have an earnest, honest talk about it. You know, at this stage in my life, I definitely am all about realness. I respect authenticity. I respect someone that is not afraid to really say how they feel, what they're going through, and you know, and tell their truth. Unapologetically tell your truth. Regardless of what anybody else thinks, that is how you feel. And no one can take that away from you or tell you how you're supposed to feel or how you're supposed to deal with them. No, absolutely not. So I hope to see some of you tomorrow at the For Every Woman tour here in Atlanta. Natalie Nicole Smith is bringing her Women Who Boss Network on tour, and Atlanta is the first stop, and I'm really excited. Definitely make sure if you, I don't even know if she has any more tickets because it's she said it was going to be an intimate event. Tickets were almost sold out, and then I think she opened it up to maybe a larger venue because like all the VIP tickets went super fast. So she was like, oh, we might need a bigger space. So I think she ended up opening up to a bigger venue, but it's still going to be kind of intimate. So yeah, I will put the link in the details of this video if you want to check it out, because Atlanta is just the first stop. I think she has 3 other stops that she's going to. Houston is definitely one of them. DC, I think, might be another one. I can't remember what the 4th stop is. Oh, maybe Miami. Yeah, that would make sense. So anyway, I hope to see some of you tomorrow here in Atlanta. And yeah, have a great week. Have a great weekend. We're at the weekend already. Tomorrow is Fun Friday. So I'll see you all tomorrow. All right. Blessings in abundance.